Hey guys, I want to talk to you about a trilogy that I just got finished reading, and I guess you would call it the Graceling trilogy. It's not a true trilogy; it's more like there are companion books, and they all go together. And it starts off with I'm going to use my tablet as for a little help here. Graceling, and the reason I'm using my tablet is because these books were hugely popular at our school, and so I rented them from the school library, and I wanted to make sure I got them back in time. But Graceling, here's a different cover. This one looks really super cool. Graceling is a story. It's a fantasy story set in another world, and in this world there are people called Gracelings, and Gracelings are people who have a special ability, and so they're really amazing. I mean, better than anybody at one thing. And that one thing could be anything. It could be singing, it could be soccer. And in this particular story, it focuses on a Graceling who is really, really good at fighting. And it's really cool because the main character is a girl, and she's a really small girl, like small boned and everything, and sounds very cute. And she is awesome. It's a really cool action book with a female character that I would recommend to boys and girls. And let's see, Gracelings. One more thing I wanted to say about that. It's really kind of interesting to picture what these people look like, because you can tell a Graceling by the color of their eyes. Their eyes are not the normal colors. They're not blue and brown and green. They're at times gold or silver or purple. And it's only one eye. So I don't know why. But anyway, so the second book of the series, love the first book, Graceling. The second book is called Fire, and that cover looks something like this. It was all right, honestly. I mean, it was actually a very good book, but it was super girly. This one I read as a recommendation because I told the librarian how much I love Graceling, and she said, "Oh, you're gonna love Fire. It's even better. It's like 10 times better." And I totally disagree. I actually don't think it was better. I don't think it was as good. Graceling was a great action fantasy story, and you just like felt yourself like rooting for the characters. Fire, on the other hand, it was probably written better. I mean, there's probably more themes. There's probably more like deeper characterization in it. But honestly, it was just too girly. And so, to give you an idea, here's what it is. Okay, so it's set in the same world, but it's a different. It's like over the mountains in this place that the other world doesn't really know exist. And so they have versions of the same animals that exist in the other world, except that they're like absolutely like gorgeous in this over the mountain place. And because they're so gorgeous, that they have this power of almost hypnotism over humans. And so when humans see a monster, as they're called, they sit there and like stare at it. And so the monsters have this power where they can kind of hypnotize people almost. And so the main character in this, Fire, is half monster, which is kind of weird. I didn't want to really know exactly how she was half monster, but she is. And so she has that same power and that same beauty, and so she actually goes through most of the book wearing a hood, so people can't see her beautifully colored hair, so that they know that she's part monster, because people are afraid of monsters in the story. Not because they're scary looking, they're actually beautiful, but because they're powerful and they can have control over you. So, last book in that series, Bitterblue. Bitterblue was really good too. I would say it's right up there with Graceling for me. Bitterblue was... It kind of intersects with Graceling because the main bad guy in Graceling was this like super powerful king who his grace was that he could make people believe anything that he wanted them to believe, which is a scary power. And so this is actually, Bitterblue is his daughter, and so the bad guy dies in the first one, and Bitterblue becomes the queen. And so this is her, and struggling really with healing the kingdom from all the evils that her father did, and really becoming her own person. So it's a really cool kind of coming of age story, and set in the fantasy genre. And something else that I really liked about it is that the characters from both Graceling and Fire intersect in this book, and so you see the protagonists from both stories actually enter into Bitterblue. I would recommend reading all of these, to be completely honest, especially for girls. If it was a young boy, I think I would say maybe skip Fire. I think you'd be okay skipping Fire. But definitely read Graceling. And Bitterblue, I would even say, is definitely well worth the read as well. Kristen Cashore. I think I'm saying that right. So all these books, fantastic.